Okay, so we are live on our Facebook Live. Just wait for a few people to join, hopefully. But yeah, so I'm here with LA Larkin and Nicole Trope. I'll just wait for a few more people to join 1 second. Um, we have one person. Hello, viewer.
This is just for you.
Yeah, a very intimate Facebook Live 3 now, so people are coming, and we will
Woo-hoo!
record this.
Hello,
so
everybody. Come in.
Down.
Come and join us.
So yeah, I'll share this around afterwards so everyone who is watching live and who's also watching the recording, welcome. I'm here with LA Larkin and Nicole Trope, who are celebrating their publication month. So Louisa, you launched your crime thriller series, the Sally Fairburn series, earlier in the month with 2 books, Next Girl Missing and Her Deadly Truth. And Nicole Trope, your new sort of domestic suspense, The Truth About the Accident, publishes tomorrow. So I guess I'll go to the experts on the book. So do you want to share a little bit about the book, sort of maybe your inspiration and just sort of what it's about? Nicole, I'll come to you first.
Thank you. So I'm going to hold it up.
Yay, it looks lovely.
Yeah, no, it's a great cover. The colours are great.
It's a creepy cover. Yay.
Yeah, a little bit. So The Truth About the Accident is about an accident that occurs in the pouring rain. And it begins with the accident and a whole lot of different people calling into emergency services, each wanting to report it in case in case nobody noticed it happen. So the rain is bucketing down, and when somebody asked me what my inspiration was, it's because in Sydney we've had about 3 years worth of rain, and I remember sitting on a large 4-lane road and thinking, I can barely see in front of me. If someone got out and ran across the road, I don't know if you would hit them or if you would see that they were there. And then, of course, in my mind, I saw a man running across the road and I thought, well, what is he doing there? And the book moves from the accident and we're introduced to 3 separate women: Marla, the wife, Sonia, the therapist, and Athena, who is the mistress. And all 3 women are waiting for this particular man to get to see them that day. And so it takes them almost a whole day to realize that he's been hit by a car. And we go from there.
That's fab. It's so interesting. And Louisa, do you want to share a bit about the Sally Fairburn series? You can talk about the series as a whole, or I guess each book individually.
Well, okay. So if we're holding up books, okay, here we go. Woohoo! Look at the babies.
Double trouble.
First one, Next Girl Missing. Second one, Her Deadly Truth. Came out. Oh, hello, I'm still there. Came out on the same day. So this is the first double book launch I've ever done. And I have to be honest, and Jess probably knows, I was a bit nervous about this. I was like, oh, is this really a good idea? Should we do this? It's turning out, I think, so far to be a really good idea. And the reason we did this is because this is the start. This is the first book in the Sally Fairburn new series. And what it's about. Well, Sally Fairburn is a former cop. She moved on to being a victim support advocate, and she's recently moved out of that role. And she's always dealt with in a very sensitive and caring way with the victims of crime, particularly the female victims of crime. And the irony of the history, which is revealed gradually throughout the book, is that Sally has been gaslighted by her ex-husband, and her self-belief has been taken away from her. And she's really hit rock bottom. And he walks out, and only then does she realize. She goes and gets help, and she begins to realize what she's been through. Moving forward a few years, and Sally is finding a new way and formed a new life with her teenage son, and has grown in confidence. And of course, there's me as the author thinking, well, now that's all very nice, but let's just completely blow that world wide open. And what do? Well, she's walking down the street and there's a bus stop. And on the bus stop is a missing person poster. She looks at it a little bit closer and she suddenly realizes that she's looking at herself in that poster.
Yeah.
Being a former cop, she knows that there is a cold case that was never solved, and it's called the poster killer case. And the poster killer puts up posters, missing person posters, of his victims a few minutes before he takes them.
Oh.
And I won't say any more because what happens next? So there you go. That's book one. Book two is carries on with what happens next with Sally and a neighbor who comes to her and asks for her help because she believes her husband is poisoning her.
Ooh.
And 2 days later, the neighbor ends up dead. So there you go. Little teasers.
Brilliant teasers there from both of you. No, they're such great books. I really enjoyed reading all three of them.
Oh,
yeah, no, they're brilliant. That's one of the best things about working at Bookouture is there are so many great books that I get to read and before everyone. So it's really great.
So many great authors.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to be with Bookouture because there are so many great authors.
Yeah,
like definitely. I'm constantly buying all their books and I can't get through them quick enough.
Oh, it's fab. So Louisa, you touched there on having a double publication day. How did you find that? Do you want to talk a bit more about like what that was like? Because it's, I guess, quite a rare and special experience to have two books out in one
I
day.
think so. Look, I guess a lot of my books are sold as ebooks, although they're there as paperbacks and also audiobooks as well. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people like to sort of download quite a few at a time. And the idea was, well, if this is a new series, and there are two readily available, and they make a great brother and sister together, well, maybe people would download both, or they'll enjoy the first one, read it in a few days and go, well, wow, I can get the second one. And so it seems to be working. And the third one comes out in October, which we're busily editing. Oh my gosh, we're busy, which is what I was doing today. And yeah, so it's interesting. And I had a bit of a book launch here in Sydney with lots of lovely friends and family and book clubs who came along, and they seem to be quite enjoying Sally Fairburn and the kind of character she is, and her personal journey, not just the journey of the story and the crime that she has to solve. It's her personal journey and how she grows as an individual.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's such a strong central character that I really warm to and admire and respected. So I think she's
lovely.
really,
Thank you.
I'm so glad that her series is named after her because she's a great protagonist. So yeah, that's really special. And Nicole, obviously your publication day is tomorrow. I know you've published so many books now. Do they sort of get less exciting, or do they still feel really nervous? Like, how is it?
Oh, I'm always nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous every time, and every book is different because every book is an entirely new world. So it's sometimes it's a whole new set of readers for a book. I love the idea of a series, just, even for myself, just to read, because the idea that you can create a world and just keep building it. But with me, every single book is a brand new world and a brand new family, and everything has to start again. So it's always interesting to see how people react to that.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I guess it's the same as the publicist. I'm always watching them all like they're my own babies. But yeah, I can be obsessively checking Amazon and the reviews as well. So even though
that's good. You do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I can't look at them. I can't.
Yeah, no, we're all doing that at Bookouture. Yeah. We all like celebrate and watch them all. We have a gong in the office as well and things like that. So it's quite fun. Right. But we also might go a bit insane one day. So yeah. And I guess you've both published so many books now. I was wondering, like, what sort of like the best writing advice that you've ever been given? Like what sort of helps you when you are struggling with writing, I guess. And Louisa, I'll go to you first this time.
Well, I teach creative writing. That's normally my evening job. Writing the books is the day job. And the one thing that I think, look, I can go through all the details of, what's important about the structure of a novel and building an engaging character. But I think the single most important thing is that you're really, really interested in the topic that has inspired the book. Like there's a passion about it. And for me, it was learning about gaslighting and starting to read books and first-hand accounts of women and men that have been through this, and actually how these people actually do it to other people. And I just thought, and I found myself growing quite angry that people can be manipulated and their lives destroyed in many ways by these other people. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if someone who's self-confidence, self-belief, even her belief in her own version of reality has been so eroded that she's kind of a crumpled person, and that she will go on this journey to become a great detective. And so my thing is, find something you're really, really interested in, or you find a story that's really fascinating and you feel like you have to write it.
That's really interesting. And I guess like when you have this idea, do you ever find that you do fall out of love with it halfway, or are you quite good at keeping stuck?
I'd say the only time I fall out of love with the book is by the time we get to the proofreading stage.
Then you're sick of the sight of it.
That's when you go into the little witty bitty detail. I'm not I can't want to do that. That's not me. That's not the good bit of me. So I find that's not.
I don't think you're alone with that feeling. I don't think that's unique to you. So don't worry about that. Nicole, what about you? What would you say is some of the best advice you've been given, or that you remind yourself when you're writing?
Oh, the best, I think the best advice. I mean, I love what you said, Louisa, about being interested, because everything that I write about usually starts off with something. I mean, and I've done novels where gaslighting is part of it. I'm always fascinated by readers who go, well, I would never have been taken in. And I find that even in real life, I know a whole lot of people who find themselves in situations that they would never have imagined they could find themselves in. So I think that's fascinating. And I always think with my writing, if I go, well, I would never have done that. And then I go, hang on a second. And then I want to find out why you would ever be in that situation where you would have done that. And that's usually where I start my research. But in terms of advice about writing, let the novel rest is the best part of the whole thing for me, because I find that I'm not like you. The proofreading doesn't bother me, and the editing and the tiny bits don't bother me, but I get to sort of halfway through and I'm just like, oh, this is not working. And I give it a few days and I come back and I go, oh, hang on a second, there's a story here. And you just need to take time away from work sometimes and do something else.
Yeah, I feel like that with most things in life. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in what you're doing that you can't see it for how good it is. Sometimes you're just so bogged down in it. So I think that's good advice for life, and not just writing books, actually, to just take a step back and let things rest. Yeah, that's really good. And I both wanted to touch, obviously you're both published by Bookouture. Do you want to share a little bit about how you got here? Because some of our authors, they all have such amazing stories, and I know that becoming published is such a hard slog. So you've both done so amazing. Nicole, I'll go back to you again first if you want to share how your sort of journey to becoming a published author.
Well, I worked for a very, very long time, and I was finally published by an Australian publisher, Larkin and Unwin, here, and I did 6 books with them. But my books are particularly suited to ebooks, and I think that they were a company that it was at the start of the ebook revolution, and they just didn't quite know what to do. And eventually we came to the last book, which actually turned into The Boy in the Photo. I sent it in and they were getting around to reading it, and then I took it away and I thought, I need to go somewhere else. And I sent it to Bookouture, actually, and they said, no, thank you. And I went,
Oh,
okay.
no.
No, they did. And I went, well, that's fine. Now I wrote another book, which was My Daughter's Secret. And Christina got that novel and she sent me what I thought was a form rejection, was just like, thank you, go back and have another look, but we'd love to see it again. I thought, oh, would you? And then I said, well, what do you want me to do? And she just wrote 2 lines and I went, oh, I know exactly what you want me to do. And then I sent her the novel and she said, have you got anything else? And I sent her the boy in the photo and here we are.
Oh, that's great. And it's so interesting as well that like so many people experience rejection and like you don't let it sort of knock you back or define you, or even a believed rejection that isn't a rejection.
Even if it wasn't.
Yes. And what about you, Louisa? Do you want to talk about your journey to becoming an author?
So my journey started many years ago when I did a degree in literature at the University of London with the ideas that I was going to write the world's most amazing novel. And then I realized that financially, I actually needed to get, a full-time paid job. And everyone kept saying to me, oh, no, look, don't be an author. No, they never make any money. No, you go and get a job with a company. That's the way to go. And as I was talking to you ladies earlier, I ended up working in magazine publishing. So I kind of lost sight of the thing that I really wanted to do. And then one day I sat back and I thought, why am I working in magazines? I hate it. What am I doing? What am I doing? And I thought, right, you've got to have courage here, Louisa. You've got to do it. And, I think the thing is that I think a lot of authors, we all go through self-doubts. Doesn't matter whether you're a first-time author or you've written, 40 books, we'll still be having self-doubts. And I think one of the big things is taking that plunge and taking a risk, because it is a scary risk. And when you're, Nicole, I'm sure you agree that when you're writing a book, you're putting your heart and soul into it, and it's kind of like lays you a bit bare. It's not necessarily got anything to do with you or people or anything like that, but you feel like it's a very personal thing. And in the end, I thought, I've just got to take the plunge, and I'll work at weekends and before work, and that's how I'll do it. And so that's how it all started for me. And I think the reason why, a bit like Nicole, I've moved from some mainstream publishers to Booktopia was because of their success with ebooks, which is where, I was selling much better, but there was a real potential there. And so there you go. So Nicole and I have done a similar kind of hop, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that I did.
Very glad.
Well, we are definitely very glad that you did, and it's so nice that we can celebrate now your joint publication month together this way. So yeah, no, it's brilliant.
Can I just ask something? We've got some lovely people saying hello. I can see the sort of
we have.
Can we encourage them if they want to write a question, maybe? I don't know if anyone does.
So if any of the people listening, any viewers want to pop a comment, it'll come through to us and we can ask Nicole and Louisa to answer them if you do have any questions. I'll keep my eye on this as well to see what's coming
now. Nobody's going to leave a question now.
I hope I've not scared you all. Okay, so now I just wanted to go a little bit deeper, I guess, into the books. Louisa, I'll come to you first. So with Sally, obviously we've sort of touched on her a bit previously. She's such a key central figure to the book, and she's this really strong sort of go-getter, like doesn't really take any nonsense, but you're sort of watching her develop into this person. How like important was Sally when you were writing her? Did she like come to you instantly, or was it something that you sort of played about with a bit. I was quite intrigued how you create a character like that, because she is quite iconic in many ways.
Well, it's really interesting you said that she's strong, and because really in the beginning I sort of feel that she's not strong, and therefore her achievement to deal with this poster killer and discover who the poster killer is, and hopefully, of course, we don't want to give the story away, but avoids being killed by the poster killer, because that's priority number one. You know, she's got to find a mettle, a strength in her that she believed was gone. You know, and so for me, writing Sally was a big challenge, because for anyone who's read my books prior to Bookouture, I tended to have fairly kick-ass female characters. Yes, in many ways they had hang-ups or they were damaged, but there was kind of a real strength, not just female, but also some male characters as well. And they were very dynamic. And there was a real drive and strength about them. But with Sally, the dilemma when I started off in the first book, and by the second book, she's certainly grown a bit in confidence. And by the third book, you'll see that it's taken her on a very new path for her. So she does grow as a character, and you know, I hope that people enjoy that journey that she goes on. But she hasn't been easy to write, and I had to rewrite quite a number of times with book one, because it's getting that balance of her vulnerability and her crises of confidence sometimes, but still making her engaging, someone that you like, and someone that you feel has got some oomph about her as well. You know what I mean? It's that delicate balance. You don't want her to be pathetic.
Yeah,
you want her to be sympathetic. But with kind of like, you want people going, come on, Sally, you can do this. Come on. And and I'm sure Nicole's found this. It's that you play around with a few words and it makes just that right difference. And it's getting that thing right.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because I guess like at Bookouture we're always saying like perfect characters are boring, like we want them to have flaws and to have like things that make them interesting or relatable. And I think, like you say, it's like Sally's journey, there's so many parts of her, and like where she doubts herself but then puts herself and sort of pushes through all those things. And I think to me that is what makes her such a strong and interesting character. And someone that you want to follow through all these books in the series. So yeah, that's really great. And Nicole, so with The Truth About the Accident, a large like part of the book, it's like getting all these different perspectives to try and piece together sort of what happened. When you were writing the book, did you always know it would be like structured this way, or is it sometimes you like get the story and then decide to structure it differently? Because it is like being fed lots of different stories and sort of deciding who to trust.
Yeah, I actually thought it would end differently, to be honest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I had a whole plan, and I sort of what I've started doing is I write the scenes that I'm most interested in, because you have to set the scene for certain. You know, you have to know where people are and what they're doing and what they look like. But then I'll write the most exciting scenes, and then I come back to it, and I found that usually the end scenes are pretty much the most exciting for me. And I was writing this and I just thought, oh, that wasn't what I had in mind at all. So the book definitely took on a life of its own. And that's because there's three very different women.
Yeah.
And they all have a stake in this. And so I had to figure out who they were. And it was easier to figure out who they were starting at the end scene and working backwards than to sort of start at the beginning with them.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because obviously with such complex and intricate plots, I always wonder like how do you even approach a task like that? So it's interesting that you sort of have your end point and then work back from there. Oh, fab. We've got some questions. So I'll go to Leona's first. Leona asks, how long do you spend writing each day? And do you prefer tea or coffee when writing? So Louisa, I'll go to you.
Leona, I love your question about the tea or coffee. I'm both. So start off the day with a big mug of Yorkshire Gold tea. Oh yeah. Yorkshire, no Yorkshire Gold. And how long do I spend writing each day? Oh, I like to start early, so I'll generally start about 7 o'clock in the morning, but have frequent breaks, including the coffee. The coffee is a break. When I go up the road, have a bit of a break. And then I'll do things like emails, social media, stuff like that, sort of maybe more around 4 or 5 o'clock.
Fab. And what about you, Nicole?
Well, my writing is copious amounts of green tea in very large mugs, but I do start off with the coffee as well. Probably why I don't sleep so well at night. But I tend to, I got to be honest, the actual sitting and typing is only a few hours a day, but the actual planning goes on all day, literally from the minute. I mean, I walk the dog twice a day, and I will go to gym and I'll get on the elliptical trainer and I'll go, I need to figure this out, and I'll listen to some music and I'll be working all the time. Like it's all the time, because you can't actually sit for 8 or 9 hours a day typing. So a lot of it is I like to sit down and have the chapter completely ready to go almost.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. We've got another question as well, and it's from Sharon Hill. And I always find this quite interesting, one to ask authors. So she wants to know, what do you like to read? And something I always wonder is, when you are writing, do you read at the same time, or do you find that just, I don't know, maybe merges worlds and takes you out of your own writing? Like, how do you approach reading? And what, if you do read, what do you like to read? Louisa, I'll go to you first.
Oh, okay. Well, I have tons of Bookouture author books to get through, which is great. But I have to let you all into a little secret, because people who know me know that I also write as Louisa Bennet. That's one T, like Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. And they are dog detective mysteries, and they're humorous. And so I have to confess that when I go to bed at night, I like to read cozy mysteries. So I'm a bit of a, happily ever after fan at nighttime, so that I do get some sleep.
That's really interesting as
there
well.
you go.
Yeah.
And what about you, Nicole?
So I read everything. And
Yeah.
I read widely, but I do tend to read not my particular genre, because I don't ever want to find myself going, where did I get that concept? Right now I'm reading Demon Copperhead, which is just
won the Women's
absolutely
Prize.
brilliant. I'm loving every minute of it. I love Richard Osman, The Thursday Murder Club. So I'll read humor. I'll go through stages where I'll read Caroline Brown, who's romance. I absolutely read everything. It just depends on how I'm feeling at the time. I just tend to stay away from psychological suspense thrillers and things like that, because that's what I write.
No, I can imagine. And I think as well, I'd just be like, oh, I'd end up just taking the ideas and I'd be, oh, I've read this before. So yeah, no, that makes sense to me. This is probably going to be our last question, but it's from our very own Noelle. And Noelle's asked, have you ever thought about changing genres? I know you have both actually wrote in other genres, so perhaps this next part of the question is more relevant. What draws you to the darker side of fiction? So why do you like writing, I guess, these novels about crimes or revenge, or sort of like secrets, and just sort of like the worst bits about people in some ways? Nicole, I'll go to you.
I think I just want to understand, if you read any newspaper article, they give you the bare facts, and sometimes like dreadful things go on in the world, especially in families, and I want to know why. I want to know how this happened, who you started off as, how did you become this person who has done this terrible thing. So that's why I write, so that I can understand why something has happened, and almost, because especially when dealing with missing children and things like that, I feel like I need to be in control of the story just for my own sort of heart and soul. I like to be in control of the story because some of these stories are so dreadful. And if you ask me if I was to write outside a genre, I would love to do, I don't think I ever will, but a series where I could start with a character and I would know who they are all the way through. Because like what Louise is doing, because I think that would be quite fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. And it's quite interesting as a reader to think when you look back to book one of a series and be like, oh, I remember when they were like that. Like, yeah, you do get invested. That's really interesting. And Louisa, what about you? What sort of draws you to writing crime thrillers? I know you've got your dog mysteries as well, but
Yes. So look, I think I've been thinking about the books that I've written, and also this new current Sally Fairburn series, and I think it's really about showing that women, it's empowering women, it's showing that women can fight back. Even the women that might think that they can't. And there's something about it that for me is saying, come on, you can do this. You know, you can make these things happen. Even in the worst situations, you can rise to what needs to be done. So as I'm writing it, I feel it's quite empowering.
yeah,
And I hope that also, because the topics that I tend to, there's always some kind of theme behind the books. And, you know, for instance, The Safe Place, which is another Bookouture book that's, you know, about, that has a domestic violence thing in the background, and how Jessie moves away and beyond that. And with this gaslighting situation here. So there are things that I feel hopefully people walk away from it feeling that they know a little bit more about a particular situation or crime even, but they feel that they're not defeated by it. They're more empowered, knowledgeable, positive as a result, if that sort of makes any sense.
No, it does. That's really interesting too. So I think we've run out of time, unfortunately, but it's been so nice chatting to you both. I have so many more questions that could have gone on for ages there. I just want to quickly answer one though that does asking about, will this be recording? And it is recorded, and I'll be sharing it on the Bookouture Facebook pages after. So yeah, everyone can rewatch and dabble back in. But yeah, thank you so much for giving up your, I nearly said mornings, evenings to talk to me.
Well, your morning, our evening.
Yeah,
Thank you
been
for
really
having
great.
me.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna end the broadcast now. But thank you, everyone.
Thanks
Bye.
everyone for coming.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.